make sure microphone's on.
Microphone's on. So I want to make a motion to start the license board meeting for Monday, July 8th at 5:15. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. So with all three commissioners present, we do not have to do roll call as required by law if a commissioner is attending remotely. So no roll call tonight. And to start with, I wanted to make a motion to take an item out of order, which, by the request of the licensee earlier today, which was for Michael's Auto Sales / Gold Star Service, to move that up and take that first. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. So the first item now is going to be is an old business, and it's Michael Auto Sales, Gold Star Service, 11 Lincoln Street, and it's a hearing.
Yep.
And can you give us just the background?
Last month, McGrath Smith, the city councilor from that area, joined, which I'm just admitting her now. There was multiple complaints issued to the Board of Health about the lot overgrown, the amount of cars. It basically looks like a junkyard. So we discussed it a little bit last month, decided to invite the licensee in and give them a chance to explain. Board of Health was supposed to be here. They're probably running a little late.
So if one of you want to just come up to the mic, because we're going to be asking you some questions. I mean, Mr. Lemke.
Councilor McGrath Smith is on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Councilor McGrath.
Thank you for joining us.
So we're discussing Mike's Auto Sales now. We took it out of order. Oh, Board of Health just joined.
Thank you.
So last month, this item came up onto our agenda. There's issues around
I was not notified.
Oh no, it wasn't for you to be here. That's why you're here tonight. Okay. It just came up, and that's why we invited you in.
But I didn't even know I was supposed to be here tonight. I got word that I was on the agenda.
So this is the letter that was sent out June 18th, and I did speak with Michael Lemke today. I did send out a certified letter. However, I did not receive the certified card back stating he did receive it. I did ask him if he was having issues with the mail. He told me no. Normally he gets all the certified letters because I get the cards back, but this, I have not received anything back, so I'm not like.
So if you weren't here, Alex would have notified us that she didn't receive it back, but you're here, so I feel like we should move forward.
But it said that there was a hearing. So if I would have missed the hearing, what would have happened?
So because of the fact that Alex would have told us that she mailed the letter out but didn't confirm receipt, we would have tabled it for next month. Mm-hmm. But since you're here, it makes sense to continue, and we appreciate you coming in.
That's why I'm here.
Thank you. So last month, the Board of Health and Councilor McGrath Smith came in or attended remotely and spoke about some issues with the establishment, and one of them being a fence that seems to be falling apart and has revealed to be what's behind the fence, and what seems to resemble more of a salvage yard than a car dealer, than a car dealership and repair. So that's why you're called into this hearing to discuss the appearance of the lot.
You are the gentleman that made me move my cars from the back to the front. Since you brought the cars out front, I used to keep them close together. Now, I've got catalytic converters stolen, got tires stolen, got batteries stolen.
Okay, let me just address that part. Mm-hmm. So,
state your name.
Yes, state your name, please.
Kathy Lemke, I'm his wife. So, there was a letter that was sent from the Board of Health, but on that letter, it talked about vegetation. It didn't say anything else about anything else. It said something, clean up the vegetation by this date, which part of it, where he normally takes care of, I think it kind of got crossed because it was already done by the time we got the letter. The part that still has vegetation is part of the property that we were told was not our property. And we weren't supposed to park anything there, even our own, when he goes to work. Can't park his car there, can't put anything there. So I called the Board of Health and I asked her, if it is, then somebody needs to let us know that, because we've never taken care of it since we were told that it wasn't ours.
So with So with property, like I know with my property, the front of my property is not mine, it belongs to the city.
Correct.
But I'm still responsible to take care of it.
Correct.
I'm not sure if maybe the Board of Health could answer whether that comes under it. But what I'd also like to do now is have Councilor McGrath speak and voice the concerns that are coming across from her and her constituents.
Thank you. Sure. So a number of abutters have reached out to me. At this point, I think almost 2 months ago, I had reached out to the Board of Health and to the building department to figure out if all of the parameters from the licensing board were being followed, or if there were things that needed to be shifted, because I was sort of doing my due diligence for the abutters. And what came back was that the license had been changed last year, where instead of cars having to be registered in working condition, they could be in any condition, and they didn't need to be registered necessarily, and that the number of cars had increased. And when I, again, followed back up with the abutters to share that information, there was surprise that had happened without them being notified. There was concern that the property to them feels like it's become less being used for auto repair and sales, and maybe being used more for salvage or for the sale of parts, and so they were concerned. So I'm following the process of the licensing board now to understand what the next steps are and how we can make sure that we're all being good neighbors to each other, and that includes us being good to the business owner as well as to the abutters in this situation. And I apologize for being in my beach gear. I'm on vacation, so I'm sorry, but I'm zooming in from our vacation house.
Well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to do that.
So
who are the abutters that are complaining? Because I know the guy directly across the street who likes the vegetation because it covers anything that he has to look at. So, and in the past, the people behind me, the leftists, have never complained. I've been there 38 years and have never had a complaint about any of this. So I'm just wondering where did these complaints come from? And that is the Sixth Amendment, so you should be able to provide me names.
I will defer to the licensing board in terms of if you want me to name the specific abutters' names. Just want to follow the process. And I will name that from their perspective, it was not so much the kind of the vegetation kind of in between the property and them. It was more that the fence was falling down. They don't want the fence taken down. They want the fence to be repaired and maintained so that they don't see what's behind the fence. I think that would make a big difference to the abutters that I spoke to.
So in the letter that we got, then why, none of that was in there. We were given a date that we were to fix the vegetation by, but it didn't say anything about anything else. And I think, the way his license is set up, he does not sell cars for parts, but it's in the guidelines of what his license is. So I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, could you elaborate? What do you mean by it's in the guidelines of his license?
He was given certain specifications of how many
57
cars,
and
where they,
I'm under that.
yeah. So
So she
I'm
brought
not
up
sure.
cars as a problem, but it's not.
Nothing, I don't think there's anything different than what we were given back
If I may.
when.
Yes, Michael, please.
So we have a lot of licensees, and it's very hard for us to memorize each document
Yeah.
that comes in front of us. But obviously, I do very well remember, and I think we're going back a couple of years, year and a half, we had both coming in fairly repeatedly because of concerns about conditions on the property. And the structure, as I recall it, was that we wanted to see painted lines on the property so that we could know where the cars were supposed to be, and you first delivered plans and then you painted the lines. The other thing that I recall, and I'm just going by memory here, is that we wanted to know that you were keeping a proper register for the cars that are on your property, as is required for any sort of car sales. Other than that, I mean, I would actually need to review the records myself. I'd need to look at what the license document looked like prior to when we last voted a change and what it looks like now. Probably need to review the minutes of those meetings if we have any further questions. But I think what is discussed in the meetings is less important than what is actually voted upon and then what is articulated in the documents themselves. I don't have a recollection that we changed the number of vehicles.
No.
My recollection was more that we clarified how the vehicles were to be placed and maybe clarified a number of vehicles if that had not been clear in the prior license. And that I may even be confusing with another licensee that we had seen in the past. But I don't believe that we made any significant loosening of the requirements that were at that property. And I would need my recollection refreshed, and I probably need to review the documents because I don't hold any memory of, and often we don't see the documents themselves after they're issued. We simply vote that they be released, and they're fairly standard.
And in addition to that, I might add that at that particular meeting last year, there was no mention about vegetation and neither the fence either. So that is new. Those two parts are new now because that was not even mentioned.
That's where I'm confused, is because we're being brought in for those things, but we weren't just aware that that was a problem. So.
And when you're here tonight, I didn't expect that you would know, because Alex doesn't state in the letter to you why you're coming in. So I didn't expect that you might not. It's very plausible that you wouldn't know about that at this point.
Not about what here, but the letter from the Board of Health should have mentioned the fence, what it looked like, as well as vegetation. But all we got was something stating vegetation.
Go ahead, Tim.
And so now we're gonna, Mrs. Lemke, we're gonna stop you for a minute and let Tim Rivers from the Board of Health speak.
Okay.
Hi, so we ended up only citing the overgrown vegetation because the neighbors wanted the fence fixed. We didn't cite it as refuse yet. As far as that goes, and the reason why we didn't mention anything else is because we don't have jurisdiction over licensing. However, when we were in the last meeting, just kind of discussing things, all the cars had to be registered. So we do have an officer that works out of our office, and he checked on the cars that were at 11 Lincoln, and out of about approximately 50 of the cars, 49 were not registered. So we forwarded that along to Councilor McGrath and the licensing. As far as overgrown vegetation goes, she did speak with Irma Ramirez about the patch on the side, and we told her we would review the ordinance. So at this time right now, we're still reviewing the ordinance on overgrown vegetation for that small patch because it's not a sidewalk and it's not a alley. So we kind of have to look into it a little deeper on the property lines and how, what authority we have or whose responsibility that particular patch of overgrown vegetation is. We haven't done that yet. So in that case, when we're still waiting on something, we just want it fine. We'll have an understanding and we'll get back to that property owner on what we ended up finding is the proper person who's responsible. So that's why we only cited the vegetation and not the fence at this time. And the Board of Health gets complaints on that property. I would have to guess, but I would say every few months, maybe every maybe like 4 times a year.
Properties when they come in a file?
What was that?
When complaints come in, do you keep a log of them?
Yeah, normally. Sometimes they come in through email. Sometimes they come in as a complaint. I can look into it a little bit deeper on that. Like I said, I'm speculating on the amount of complaints we get, but that's why we're there originally, because of the look of the property, but it takes multiple departments because we don't do the licensing.
Right. And the reason I ask, Councilor McGrath-Smith mentioned hearing from many constituents and was somewhat challenged to name who the constituents are, which I don't think is an obligation of the city councilors. They get called all the time by folks who sometimes want to be identified, sometimes do not. All people are free to speak to their councilors on whatever terms they want. However, at the health department, they do have to log what comes in, to the best of my knowledge, and it's kept in a file with properties, and that's public record. So that you can go to the health department, have a look at it. So
yeah, we'll look into it. I told you I would, so I will.
Thing with the fence, the fence, there's no vegetation to the best of my recollection of where the fence is. The pictures that I received are pictures of Valley Heights side, so I'm not sure where the difference is.
The fence is on the back, the rear, it's falling down. We didn't cite the fence because the neighbors don't want to see your property because they don't like the way it looks. So we didn't cite the fence yet. We figured we'd have that conversation with you and the licensing board about fixing that fence so they don't have to look over there and see the conditions of the property.
To Inspector Rodriguez, is that her name?
If we could just cite the fence as refuse and have it removed.
Yes, but from the perspective of the abutters, they'd like to see the fence be fixed.
Right.
Neighbor's property. The fence along the back does not have vegetation on it. The only vegetation is on Valley Heights.
So they're gonna.
We didn't cite the fence. We didn't cite the fence falling down because we want to have the conversation about fixing the fence for the neighbor's sake, but at the same time is if it ends up being where the fence isn't getting fixed, then we would have you remove it, the part that's falling down, because it's now considered trash. And the Board of Health does have jurisdiction over the trash. We just didn't cite that because we wanted to have that conversation.
So thank you, Tim. I need to speak. So what are your plans for the fence?
Well, he just said that if I take it down, then I don't need it because there is a guardrail. So is that the case? Whereas if I take it down, I'm good?
If you take the fence down, your neighbors are going to have to look at your property, and you're probably going to have more problems.
More complaints.
Well, what?
More complaints.
About what?
About how your property looks like a salvage yard and not a car sales lot.
Because I've been vandalized enough that it's been a problem because of the situation of the board having me move my cars out. Now I have to try to find the money to fix the cars. I called the police because 2 cars were broken into, right, last week because they tried to steal them. And the police told me, do I have a picture of his face? And I said, no. And he said, well, without a picture of their face, we can't do anything. So the vandalism just keeps going on. Because now my cars are out front where it's,
I need to
Your
clarify
cars are out front and parked
where they're
in
supposed to be.
painted lanes because that is a requirement by law for repair and sales lots, that lots be painted and that cars be, so that, and what that does is it signifies how many, you paint the number of spaces that you're allowed to park, and then you park within those spaces. That's how the licenses work.
All right, so the salvage that he's talking about, like, the cars that are there are cars. They're complete cars. So what, salvage is something where you have pieces of cars, parts, like, could there be something that, he took off of a car to put onto a car? Possibly. But I don't
that
understand.
was before.
I don't understand, like, the salvage part of it. Like, I mean, I know what that means, but I'm not sure what that actual complaint is.
So a salvage lot will have cars parked that they do take parts off. The cars aren't registered. The cars are most likely never going to be fixed up and put back on the road. So if you had all your cars in your lot registered, that would be less like a salvage lot.
You
But
can't
we
have a
don't-
registered car to sell. It's not,
Right.
used car lots don't
I think
register cars.
Yeah, I think we're misusing the word register,
Yeah.
because that is not the word we use. Because
Okay.
cars are not really registered until a
Right.
person actually purchased the car, then it goes into registration.
Correct, but he
It's a
does
log.
include- a
It's a
log.
log of the type of cars they have in his
Inventory.
in his place. That's what we're talking about. here. No
inventory.
registrations.
Yes.
And it sounds like that log did match the vehicles around the premises?
These were all the lots that were on the car,
yeah,
because
she
they
got it.
were checking to see if they were registered or not, and only one came up. But, I mean, what's the solution, right? Like, how do we work together?
But let
that's
me
the-
challenge, wait, I want to challenge you with a question. If there are cars for sale on the lot, for sale, meaning they're running and they're for sale, they have to be, if people are going to take them for a test run, they have to be registered, or you can't take them on the road. Is that not the case?
That's
That
what he
can
has.
utilize the license plate that
That's
they
what he-
have as a
That's
dealer,
what
car
dealer's
dealership
plate's for.
sells.
Okay.
That's different.
So,
We gotta make sure we got the understanding the right way in order to pursue.
right, and I guess that's what we need to know what those stipulations are. Like I said, I guess back in the day, we had also gotten to clean up vegetation, but there was a list, whatever people might have been complaining about, there was a list in that letter with pictures, this is what you need to fix. We didn't have to come here to do that. They sent it to us, we fixed it. If we didn't fix it, then we had to go to the next step. So I guess that's just why I'm confused. If there's things that need to be looked at, then we need to know that in order to be given the opportunity to take care of it before we have to end up
Right.
here.
So if I may?
Actually,
Go
before
ahead,
you,
sure.
I just had one question for Councilor McGrath. What will satisfy the constituents? What is their, what are they looking for?
They want to see the fence repaired, and they want to see the license reverted to what it was before it was changed last year. So there would be less cars on the lot.
We did, Mr. Lemke came in with a parking plan, and we increased the number of spaces. I recall we increased the number of spaces.
So we can review that when
Because
it's
it goes by
renewal
square
time.
footage.
When it's renewal
Would it be
time.
done without notifying the abutters?
I mean, we went
Do you
through
have to
it.
notify abutters with that kind of license change?
Not that I'm aware of. I believe since I've been here 3 years, this is the first time that the board did receive a plan for an increase of cars. From my understanding, the planning board was supposed to be a part of that because they have to measure the lot and kind of they determine how many cars go on there, depending on the dimension. So that's as much as I know.
And the situation at that time was that there were cars that were not backed with inventorying and that were just stacked one in front of the other in front of the other, and that appearance was not beneficial to the neighbors. And so we went through a whole process, several meetings, had them go out and come back here with a drafted plan in order to resolve this. And so, I don't know about notification at any point one way or another, nor do I know that it's required. I'd have to do some research on that. But I would simply say that the intention of the lines was to decongest the cars, have them in recognizable spaces.
Organize the lot.
And organize the lot. I think ultimately what was the pressure at that time, and continues to be a pressure at this time, is that the neighbors are perceiving a distressed-looking property in what is otherwise mostly a residential couple of streets off of Lincoln Street. And I think people will be apt to continue to complain so long as it looks distressed, if not about the number of cars and about something else until the appearance changes. In terms of the appearance, I think the expectation on our part is you have to abide by the terms that are in your license, and you have to obey all the city ordinances. So if the overgrowth is a violation of a city ordinance that causes the Board of Health to send you a complaint, you resolve that, and you're in good standing. Don't, and you're not. But I think you ultimately don't have a requirement to improve the aesthetics of your property. If you want to get along with your neighbors, you might want to think about it.
Yeah.
But you do have an obligation to follow those core city ordinances where if they tell you something's in violation, you've got to fix it. I think those are the rules of the road.
Correct.
And so when we were here last time, we were advised of a Board of Health complaint, some questions about the status of the cars. Much of this has been addressed, but if you've taken care of the vegetation that's actually on your property, and it is, I happen to have the city map geo up right here, and you can see that you have a somewhat irregular rectangle, all straight lines and a box of 4 sides, but outside of that appears to be these 2 pieces of land that either either belong to the city or unclaimed property or whatever it is. So I think you're responsible within your bounds and not outside of your bounds, except potentially if you had like a sidewalk curb area, which if I recall that area doesn't exist.
It doesn't, no.
So you're responsible for your own property. But I don't think we can regulate aesthetics. And I think what the neighbors really want is to see the aesthetics improve. And honestly, as a guy who drives by there every day, I would like to see that too, but I don't know that we have the mechanism to force that, to be honest.
Which, I understand that, but who's, neighbors, you have neighbors, who's to say, what they think is beautiful, somebody else doesn't think is beautiful. So is it no matter like what you do, it still may not be enough for some people. So that's what I mean. If we need to do what we're supposed to do and, try to deal with the fence, but, it's just on the property, is that ever going to change? You know what I'm trying to say? Like somebody might think something, okay, well that looks good. And if we move things into a different area or get rid of something, it's still, well, I don't like the way that looks. Right. So.
Okay. So we all actually live relatively close to your establishment. I know when I drive by, I actually also see vehicles parked not within the spaces, which is also part of the agreement. So if, as you said, the aesthetics, is that part of the aesthetics that vehicles are not, that there's actually more vehicles than spaces? Because I see them in the back still jammed in there.
So
no, there's not. There's not more than 57 on the lot.
Right.
But I definitely see vehicles not parked in the spaces in the middle.
Yes, there is, because it was towed in and the customer is not, and yes, there are I believe 2 or 3 that are not in the lines.
Right.
But there are,
But there are vacant lines that I could
yes.
get them to.
And my sense is you should. We should probably provide a little bit of grace that if I happen to be driving by at 6 o'clock on a Monday evening and there's a car there, at that moment, is it a violation? Probably not. If I see it the following Monday, that's problematic. But the other thing is, I think what we have to respond to is not our personal observations, but proper complaints by a duly authorized agent of the city to document and bring it forward.
And I disagree with you in that I think a personal observation, if I happen to be going by, does count. So I disagree with you.
Well, we are commissioners, so I
I know.
suppose if you wanted to, you could draft your own document of a complaint, and that would be sufficient. I would not be inclined to do that, but I think that may be within your purview if you choose to do that, and we can see how it works.
Mr. Chairman, do you remember when we were trying to figure out the number of cars and
Yes.
everything? And you said they had to put the lines in. The weather we have today and this week was the same weather we had then, and you said, how hard could it be to get a tape measure and a can of spray paint? And let me tell you how difficult that was, because the neighbor that enjoys that vegetation is the one that helped me put those lines in.
I also recall we gave you 90 days to put those lines in, and I believe you waited till the weekend before to do it. So that's the other side of that story. So I guess my only question again, in trying to address Councilor McGrath's request by the constituents about the fence, if we could at least address that and ask again, what are your plans for the fence?
We're going to have to figure
Well,
that out. 'cause
does she
this-
want me to take it down, or does she want me to put it to repair it?
They want you to repair the fence. But
Make it straight.
we need to figure out how we're going to do that. So I can't say to you right now, oh, by next week, we'll have a fence up there. We got to go back and, figure out finance and who's going to do it. So that could take a little bit of time anyways.
And so just so you understand, I think the issue around that is that the health department was holding off because they were trying to understand, is the fence going to be repaired? If it's not, then now it becomes rubbish, and then they will come out and cite you for that. So that's the concern there, and that's why I'm asking you about the decision. It's so the health department can decide if the fence gets repaired, then that's fine, and we move on. If the fence doesn't get repaired, then it now becomes rubbish where you can get cited by the health department.
Right, understand.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying, like they can't just come right now and be like, oh, okay, you got to fix the fence, you're going to fix it by Monday. Like, you know what I mean? That's.
I can't deem what I can't deem what they're going to tell you. They may come and tell you you need to fix it in a week or so. I don't know.
Mr. Chairman, that particular issue was not addressed to them in a letter. It was addressed to them tonight, so.
Correct.
It's understandable what she said.
I know, and I said I didn't know.
Yeah.
And Tim did mention that it wasn't cited because then it would be considered trash, and then they would have to remove it. So he was trying to work with them and give them a break. Okay. I think we're all just here to try to find a solution to just improve the law. We're not trying to make anything difficult. We just want to make sure everybody's running how they're supposed
Which
to.
is fine. I
As
do
far as
understand.
trash goes with city ordinance, trash is never acceptable on any property, but we normally give 7 days. However, if they say, hey, we're going to work with you and have the fence fixed in a month, we would be okay with that.
Just communicate.
Then we wouldn't cite the
Which is
fence as
true.
trash because we have a
Yes.
plan to correct.
Communication, yes, because I guess, we got a ticket for the vegetation. So there was a $100 fine that we had to send in because, again, I spoke to the
Ramirez.
the girl at
I
the
spoke
Board of
with her.
Health, and we went through the pictures, and she didn't know. And she said, I will check for you and I will get back to you. So I didn't hear from her, so we had to send in the letter for a hearing because we
21
didn't
days
feel like
long.
we had to pay the $100, not knowing if that was something that we
Yeah.
actually needed to take care of.
And I was trying to get.
Right, and if we can void the fines as well, as long as we have a plan to correct. And as far as the vegetation, we're still looking into that. So you wouldn't, like I said, you could send it in, but we could work with you on that. As far as the health department goes, we work with property owners as long as our goal is compliance. It's not to punish anybody. It's just to make, get properties into compliance. So we can work with you. We can void that fine for overgrown vegetation, and we just need a plan for the fence.
If you void that, then I would need a letter from the housing court in Springfield to say that my hearing has been dismissed. Because
We would write you a letter that, we would write you a letter. and talk
That's
to the water on it.
that's from
fine.
you, but
Because it goes there. They're a part of it. They are part of the process.
Yeah, we write a lot of tickets, so we'll handle that on our end, and we'll give you clarification that ticket was voided, as well as I'll have the law department reach out to the court.
Okay. So, yes.
Sir?
There's no further action for us to take at this point?
No further action at this point.
Okay.
So,
Straight the line, no, the fence. That's all.
but what'd you say? Sorry.
Just straight the fence up.
Oh, all right. So don't need any paperwork for it, just to do it, and then what? Then,
So just to clarify, I don't think there's any action for the license board to take
Correct.
at this time.
correct.
You're dealing directly with the health department right now. And so that's a health department issue, just stay in close contact with them and do what they need. Our concern is going to be whether it's the health department, the building department, the police department, anytime there's a complaint that an ordinance or a law is not being followed on a licensed property, we would have some issue and some jurisdiction. So right now, it's only the health department. And we hear you working it out, so, complete that. And, my only concern is if you can't take some affirmative steps to make some peace with some of the neighbors, complaints will continue, citations from different places will continue, and we'll continue having you back. And we'll have to do that.
Yeah.
So going on that, with the neighbors, I need to know that, and you said that I can get that from the health department?
They should have a file that keeps at least a log of incoming complaints and emails and so forth.
Okay.
So let me understand, so if there's anything, like as far as complaints going forward, we're not going to get anything in the mail to tell us that? We're just going to end up here? Or is there going to be a letter? Because that wasn't a fine. That letter that we got wasn't a fine initially. So I guess that's what I need to know. Is it just going to be the neighbors are complaining, so in 3 weeks, we're going to get, we should get something saying we have to come back here?
I believe each department that has something or complaint should be addressing you with, we did, they did to a certain degree, so we should be receiving information from the departments that are trying to reach us or trying to talk to us.
First.
Of course, a letter never made it, so it's a different
right.
story, but.
And I tried to call her for 2 weeks, over 2 weeks, to see what vegetation he was talking about.
Not me.
And
Board of Health.
That's the-
Board of Health, not,
Yeah.
the
No,
vegetation was not the license
No.
board.
He just, his
Inspector Ramirez,
hands
did I say? I'm sorry.
You're just,
Inspector Ramirez, that was her name on the form, so I kept calling, I called different times a day. And, I wrote down the amount of times that I called and what time I called. And I didn't get a response from her until July 3rd. She said she wouldn't be here for the weekend, and she called me back today, which she didn't. And my 21 days was up on Saturday.
Right,
So it's not, I tried to find out where the problem was, and I didn't get a response.
Kathy, to answer your question, if we do get complaints, whether it's the license board, the Board of Health, or any other department, it is our job to follow up. We're just doing our job. So I just wanted to answer that. If the Board of Health comes to me and they're asking questions about the license, if I feel like it's a license board issue, yeah, you will receive a letter. If I feel like this is not a license board issue and this is just a Board of Health thing, then they would handle it.
So I guess that would be a question for them then. Should I be getting something from them if there is a problem, if there is an issue?
Yes.
If there's an issue, you get a letter of violation, though, like you got for the overgrown vegetation.
Yes, you will receive a letter.
Okay, I just only so that we know what is being looked at or what has to be addressed if, because it's hard coming in here, we had no idea.
And if you receive a letter from Board of Health or from the license board and you have any questions, you're more than welcome to call. And the Board of Health is great. Like, I'm sure they'll explain it to you about where the violations. And as far as me too, I will let you know. I told Michael we received a couple complaints when he called. So he knew it was because we received complaints. If information is able to be shared, there's no problem.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Sounds good to me.
just one thing to mention,
Just let it be.
licensees will get ticketed at times when enforcements go out to look for excessive trash piled up in the lots and stuff. So keep that in mind. Your neighbors may call and complain to a department, and then an officer will go out and look at the lot and determine, and so you could get additional tickets if there is excessive debris piling up in the lot.
Which is understandable, but so what you're saying is if this vegetation was a problem and we didn't get the letter, they will just come and they can just give you a fine because it's there?
You shouldn't be
Or-
getting a fine unless you've been notified first.
Okay, that's
by any department.
that's the only thing that I'm really trying to understand. Because, fine, I get it. If somebody comes and sends me something and says, you have this much trash over here and it needs to be gone, and then it's not gone, perfectly, I understand that. Then we deserve to have a fine. But if I don't know, because it's trash, debris, trees, we don't know what is too much, what's not to be there, because the stuff on the side doesn't look all crazy. It just it looks like trees, looks like bushes. But again, that's my perception, not somebody else's perception. So that's all that I was trying to figure out, is that people get notified before they have to pay a fine for something.
I'm assuming yes.
So that's fine. I totally understand, but
We also have instances where people get notified and then they have to come before the license board.
Yeah, like today, they didn't get the letter, but normally, yeah, you would receive a letter stating you're being invited to the next license board meeting. It's always sent, if not a month, at least 2 weeks prior to the meeting. They can call at any time if they have any questions about the letter. They don't have to wait till the meeting.
we've never had any issues with the letters. Like, when you send something,
Yeah.
we know we have to come. We know why we're coming.
Yeah.
That's the process.
Yeah.
I get that. So if we get something and we are told we have to fix something, okay, we need to fix it. If we don't fix it, then we're going to end up either back here or just paying a fine without even coming here. I understand that. I just, like you said, just being notified, that's all.
Sounds like we're clear.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. All set? Thank you for coming in.
So, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to take up the other hearing?
Since they're the only ones, it probably makes sense.
Why don't we do that?
Make a motion to take out of order Deja-Vu Night Spot, 414 High Street. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. All three commissioners present. I don't have to introduce it to you.
Next. Good evening, Neil Phillips for the owner.
Hi, well, welcome, thanks for coming in. Alex, do you want to give the background on this?
So last month, Deja-Vu was discussed due to the shooting that happened. We were able to discuss it a little bit. We also got a police report in June about them getting caught operating outside of 2 a.m. So they're here today due to that violation of operating outside of 2 a.m.
And just before we start, some things have happened that I'm not going to mention, but what I do want to mention is Alex is our administrator for our office. She doesn't make the voting decisions. It is the three commissioners that make the voting decisions. So if anything Alex says is information for us, and she's not making the decisions. And I just want to make that clear.
Yeah. Three of us.
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So do we have both two things tonight or just one?
Just one because it's still an ongoing investigation.
Okay.
So we can, right
Just
now,
leave that aside.
yep, it's just a violation
Okay.
from operating outside of 2 a.m. And the bar manager thing, that it says here,
Fellow identified
that
himself as
Jose
bar
Serrano is
manager.
the bar manager. And I mentioned in last month's meeting that the bar manager was Jasmine Acevedo, not Jose Serrano.
So, you ready?
Yeah, I've read it.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
So, I don't, does the licensee want to speak about this
We're aware of
incident?
that charge, and I don't know if we're going to contest it at this point. She's a new business, and this happened, and unfortunately it happened, and we're here to make things right. She wants to prosper, continue to prosper, maybe add her husband as a manager and extend the hours.
Yep.
So that'll be coming down
Thank
the
you.
pike, and hopefully we're favorably on that.
Is this the first year the license is in operation?
Yes.
This is the first year the license is in operation, right?
Yeah.
They've only been open 4 months.
Yeah, okay.
And they have a good business there, they want to keep it. And her husband, they're homeowners in Holyoke, they've been here for a little while.
I just need a minute. I want to look over
Sure.
our license guidelines. Give me 1 second. So, is Jasmine going to speak at all, or you're just going to speak?
Depending on what you ask.
So I guess the question I have is, this occurred at 2:30 in the morning? What time did this occur?
I guess.
2:30 says the write-up. Second line.
2:30. If you want to
Yeah.
read I don't know if you have a copy of the police report, but you're more than welcome to read it.
Do you know what
Yeah.
time you're supposed to be open till?
2 a.m.
Okay. I mean, it's not like I think if you ever see this, it's not like it's 2:05 or 2:02. I mean, 2:30 is like way beyond the hours. Anyway, just pointing that out. Do you want to comment
We're
on
not
anything?
contesting the.
Yeah. No, it's not contested. I
No,
think it's,
not at all.
you know, how do we want to resolve it
We're on bended
at this
knee.
point? Yeah.
Mistake was made, it's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard that from other people, but it won't happen here.
Okay.
The investment is too large, too great for her and her husband and her family.
Yeah, need to remember that if the place is supposed to close at 2 a.m.,
It's got to
by
close. at
1:30, you need to start lining people up.
Yeah.
You know, try to get the
That's
folks
why
out, because by
we have
2
been doing
o'clock
that.
sharp, that place need to be closed down and everybody out.
Right.
And Alex, what are the operating, do you know on the license what the operating days are? Like they list?
Yeah, they listed, I believe she said Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, when the license was being transferred.
That was for management.
That's correct.
That was for management purposes.
That was for
not
management.
for operating. I don't know how that got mixed up there.
And
Sorry, so just so we're clear, when the hearing happened, when the transfer happened, I believe you was on.
We were on Zoom.
On Zoom, yep.
So-
And she was asked the business, what days of operation she was gonna be open, and that's the days she listed in the hours.
So now can she seek an amendment of that?
She's more than welcome to seek an amendment.
For another hearing, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Do it now.
now, is there an issue if, is it on the license that says she can only be open on certain days?
No, that's
Not
how
on the
state
license itself,
approved
that's
it.
what
That's how the
she
state
asked
approved
for.
it.
Yeah.
So you're, it would be better for you then to seek to amend the license to have all the days you want to be on it. I just wanted to make sure if that
Hopefully
wasn't.
7 days
if I-
a week, regular
Right.
hours that other operations run.
Right, because technically, if there's any representation, it's going to be a certain number of days, and that's outside of this, you're kind of running a speakeasy.
Yeah.
Those days, you didn't tell us, so you don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I just want to read so you can understand, according to our guidelines, what the possible violations could be and how long this will be on your record, just so it's fully understandable by you. So, any violation of license terms or law shall be addressed by the following penalties in addition to any other penalties imposed by other regulatory authorities, including the ABCC. First violation, written warning sustained on record with the licensee staff for a period of 3 years. Oh, and just so I'm mostly reading this so you can understand if there's additional violations, what that can cost you. That's my main point in reading this, just so you understand. First violation, written warning sustained on record with the license staff for a period of 3 years, after which point the penalty schedule reverts back to first violation, and or suspension of alcohol license for up to 5 days to be enacted at the discretion of the board, and of which a portion may be held in abeyance pending future infractions. Second violation. This is really what I wanted you to hear so you understand if there are additional violations, what the penalty could be, because that's important. Second violation, suspension of alcohol license for 3 days to 15 days to be enacted at the discretion of the board, and of which a portion may be held in abeyance pending future infractions, as well as notice of violation sustained on record for a period of 3 years. Okay. Third violation, suspension of alcohol license for 15 days to be enacted at the discretion of the board, and of which a portion may be held in abeyance pending future infractions, up to revocation, cancellation of license. So I just wanted you to see if additional, because this is your first violation, I wanted you just to have the knowledge of what additional violations could cost your business, just so you have that information. Great. I think that was important that they know.
Oh, I agree.
If there's
I
additional
agree.
violations, what the cost could be.
Yeah, I think this is a really good practice.
I agree. So you can see it's a progression.
Yeah. But this is a first violation of a brand-new business.
First violation.
And I think one of the most important lines in the police report is that the patrons exited the bar without incident. Now, the police should not have to have been involved to get the people out of there, but the fact that it closed without incident means I'm going to lean towards a more mild sanction than a harsher sanction, which I would have a very different attitude about if there had been any kind of an incident. Right. And with that, I think a written warning in this case is sufficient.
Okay.
This is about progressive consequences, and so now you know. That would be my suggestion. I do want just one point of clarification. So Jose Serrano identifies himself to the police officer as the bar manager, and just for our purposes, the manager of record is not expected to be on premises at all times of operation. There may be a manager on duty who,
Thank you, Mr.
yeah,
Brown. I mean,
yeah,
it's
yeah. So, So that distinction does matter. He didn't necessarily misrepresent anything. He was the responsible person at that time.
And you have full authority to do whatever is necessary to
Okay.
move those people out.
So, I would have some pretty stern words for Mr. Serrano about ensuring that he never puts you in this position again.
That's her husband.
Okay, even more so.
Tell your husband not to push him.
Even more so.
He never said that it's the man. I don't know how that was mixed up there. He always said my wife is the owner, my wife is the manager.
Okay.
So I don't know what was the misunderstanding right there.
No, I think he can be a manager on duty. That's allowed.
Exactly.
But until there's repeated incidents.
Right.
So, yeah.
And because the police report mentioned that he was the bar manager, for the board's sake, I wanted you guys to have that information.
Yeah.
That's why that was mentioned. And no way, nobody ever said that you had to be on premise 24 hours in order for you to open. That's not correct. If you have any questions about you being a bar manager, you're more than welcome to call the license board. Because if you would have called, I would have told you, no, Jasmine, you're not required to be on premise 24 hours.
That's not what she said.
That was never said to you. So I don't know where that information, I don't know where you guys got that information
Probably
from.
me who gave it to her, and I'll tell you why, because other cities are a lot stricter on that, on management. They want that manager there almost all the time. And I say that with a great deal of experience. I haven't had any experience here except for you, your board.
Do other cities ask for a list of the folks who would be manager on duty, so we have some
Well, they say,
they
who's
have
the
record of it?
manager, what involvement are they gonna have? They know they've gotta be there all the time. So I'm afraid to give any other advice than that.
If you review I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
If you review the meeting, she clearly stated that her license should be hung up because Jasmine Acevedo was not there and Jose Serrano was there claiming he was the manager.
I
And you
never
can just
said
repeat-
that.
It is recorded.
So pull your license?
Hang up the license.
No,
Well, you can go back to the video. It's right there.
no.
But in any event,
We don't want to-
that is not an issue where I'm seeing
That's what I was
the
told.
presence of a violation. It's
Right.
just whoever is on duty responsible for your business
Right.
at that time, they need to be following every rule, and, what they do to you.
So she's been closed since that happened. Can she reopen now? She can do that. She has.
What? She hasn't been closed.
I haven't closed.
Okay.
I apologize.
I was gonna say, that would not have been necessary.
Right, no, it's not closed. It's just that we are closing earlier as the misunderstanding I have with the schedule.
So, with that, I'll make a motion.
Nobody else has those specific schedules in the application, so I don't know why I have to have that schedule in my license.
So I move that we place in the record of this license holder a written notice of violation with an attachment, with this police report attached to it as the consequence for this incident.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All three commissioners present have voted in favor of this. And I just want to remind you again, this will be on your record now for the next 3 years as your first violation. Just so you can understand that.
Remove it sometime. Can we get that removed from her file sometime?
It'll go away after
3
3 years. It's like points on an insurance policy, if you would.
And one other thing, can we get on the next meeting agenda to increase the hours and get her husband?
There's an application.
Puts in an application for a
So as
change.
if you deal with alcohol license, I'm sure you're aware, they have to go on the abcc.gov and they have to fill out all the paperwork, submit all the required documents. It goes on to a hearing, approve it, and then it goes on to the state level.
And when's the next meeting?
The next meeting is for August.
And we haven't picked a date. We'll pick a date at the end of this
Oh,
meeting.
you don't, okay.
So that means I
Typically
need
the
to
first
keep
Wednesday
closing
of
on
summer.
12.
But
It's a little
it
bit
won't,
weird.
I'll be.
Like I said, it's usually.
Because it's summer, and it gets a little weird. Yeah.
Is there a chance we could get this done by that time to get on the agenda for August? If we really move on it, like tomorrow or the next day?
Yeah, if the paperwork is submitted in a timely manner, they'll definitely make the August agenda.
Okay.
That could be the first Monday. or Wednesday.
Usually.
Somewhere around there.
We'll decide.
We'll
you know what I
decide
mean?
by the end of this meeting when the next meeting is.
And just to call in, we'll know by that time.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks for coming in.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so cross those two off. And now I'm on to special one-day license. I'm going to take 1, 3, 4, and 5 together and then go to the other ones. So This is a special one-day license, El Paraiso Colombiano at Fiesta Patronales. It's all the same festival. Number 3 is Jibaritos Sports Club. 4 is City Sports. 5 is Fiesta Café. 1,
Everything's
3,
good?
4,
Everything's good.
5.
Make a
They're
motion, we
all
approve.
for.
Second?
All those in favor? Oh,
Aye.
wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Alex was speaking.
It's okay, they're for Fiesta Patronales.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. All 3 commissioners present voted in favor. Now we're up to number 2, and this is for the 116 High Street. That's the event?
That's where it's gonna be at, yep. It is a,
I heard about that.
Oh, sorry. I can get it.
no,
No, I read
it
it.
is a brunch event. So she's doing a brunch event. So they want to have alcohol. It's from 10 a.m. to 6. It's just beer and wine because it's not a nonprofit or a nonprofit event. They're going to have 1 security guard at the door, and El Paraiso is the vendor. But they'll be at Camila's Cafe.
Yeah.
The new,
They do pretty good, you know?
yeah, the pink place. So he's going to be vending.
So it's one exercising the one-day license at Camilla's business.
Correct.
Which is a different owner.
Right.
Okay, which is fine, I just want to clarify. Okay.
Yep. So yeah, it says where it'll be held at Camila's Cafe, 116 High Street.
Just as a point of interest, 10 o'clock is a sensible starting time for a brunch, for sure. Is that routine for restaurants in Holyoke, or are there different starting times depending on what people have applied for in their licenses?
I seen the Wyckoff, I seen.
Yeah, there's no,
There's many
for
restaurants
Sundays,
there.
you're not allowed to serve, I think, for liquor stores. They have
Earlier than
more.
10.
Yeah.
Right.
But for on-premise, I don't believe there's any. And for one day's, license board has all the purview.
Okay.
Yes, all the
Okay.
purview.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, did I already move?
No.
I move to approve.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All 3 commissioners present have voted in favor. So now we're up to 6.
Blue Door.
Blue Door Gathering, 400 Dwight Street. And this is July 10th
And July 24th.
and July 24th. July 10th is 100 people, and it says they're gonna notify police fire department. Is that enough? For 100 people? But it's for it's a 4-hour event. 100 people doesn't seem a lot for a 4-hour event.
It's not indoor, so Blue Door Gathering really has a window with table picnics outside. That's how they kind of do their events. So it is an outdoor thing. It's not like it's inside, if that makes you feel better.
Yeah, it does.
You could require her
space.
to have a detail or security, but it's your choice.
Well, if she notifies the police, then they'll tell her if she needs something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what day of the week are these?
July 10th
July
The
10th and
24th.
and July 24th.
So the 24th is a Wednesday and the 10th is a Wednesday. So Wednesday evenings they're having something, and I assume people kind of coming and going.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's like a roughly, they're expecting 100, like,
In and
not
out,
all
in and
at
out,
once.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I unless we find out later on there's issues, I don't see the security arrangement being a problem.
Nope. I don't either.
Move to approve.
Second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All 3 commissioners present have voted in favor. Now we're up to open air licenses, and how can I take these?
All at once.
All at once. Okay.
It's all for Fiesta, right?
Fiesta Patronales up to 13 and then, up to 16, and then the rest are for farmers market.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay. If you don't mind, I'm going to skip this vote. I got to run to the restroom quick.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Be right back. But go ahead.
Probably
Okay.
think about it, I can switch
Super
the name.
quick.
I'm not going to have any.
Let me see if I can beat you. It's a race. So 2024 open air licenses. First one is for the Fiesta Patronales, and it's MexiRico on wheels, City Sports, El Paraiso Colombiano, Jibaritos Sports Club, Mejor Pina Colada, Made in Holyoke, El Sabor de Mai, Paris and Ties, El Bori, Sabor Caribeno, Saint Bounce House. What, you laughing at me? It's okay. El Sabor Nocturo, Tacos Pueblo, City Shoes Plus, Rico Puertorican Catering, Los Papi Platano, and Platano, Platano. And for farmers market, Chic Lime, Soto's Accessories, and more. Yomos Baked, Alchemy of Avalon, Raw Beauty Brand, Nuestras Raices Inc, Grit and Grog, Lay Company, JDB Creations, Nightjar Farm, Living Sowful, Floor Farm Foodies. And
All of these are in Holyoke businesses, right?
No.
Because some of the names sounds like I haven't heard them.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Nope.
That's what I thought. Okay.
so I want to make a motion to approve.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So Michael has not approved it, so
Two approve, one.
Two approve,
absent
one
at-
not.
At the voting time.
and should we wait for Michael for the next one? Okay.
That's our
So-
amusement.
2024 automatic amusement device, and we have Warionex Rental and El Paraiso Colombiano.
So just real quick, item number 1, both of these are for Fiesta Patronales. Number 1, they're having a mechanical bull. We sorted out everything as far as location, insurance, so it is safe to approve them. We make sure everything was like in order. We worked with the applicant because it's a huge liability.
Yeah.
And then for number 2, El Paraiso, he's gonna try to bring in the basketball hoops for the kids.
Okay.
Which I think is a great idea for entertainment for the
I think
kids.
so, yeah.
So right now he's just looking at to have 1 basketball and then 1 mechanical bull. They're both gonna be separated from each other.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And everything's in.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. So Commissioners Jose Correa and Anthony Luciano have voted to approve this. Michael Murray abstaining momentarily, and who's now back at the meeting. And now we're on to 2024 common victular license for City Pizza,
I'm wondering-
420 High Street.
I'm wondering when they're gonna open up.
City Pizza?
Yeah, I see improvement on the place.
So there's new ownership. This is why it's a new common
gotcha.
victual license. New owner, he provided everything. The only thing that's questionable right now is he wants to stay operated until 4 a.m. Now, this is right next to
Deja-Vu.
the incident that happened. They told him the license board sets the hours due to the common victual license. I said, I've never heard of us setting hours. I don't recommend the 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, but again, it's not my decision. I don't know where he needs to go to as far as the hours of operation.
But now the hours of operation are not, obviously, does he have an alcohol license? Because the alcohol license has to stop if that was...
No, he doesn't have an alcohol license.
No, it doesn't.
There's just a lot of bars, and he wants to stay open because of the
He wants to get the bar business.
He wants to get the buyer business, which had happened before in the city. I recall Fernandez being open also this many years ago.
I was gonna say, I don't
Being
remember that.
open
Okay.
beyond 2 a.m. to accommodate
Rainey's
the
Diner.
bars coming in.
It was the go-to way back in the day.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's
So
talking
this
about
is not
food here.
unheard of.
Right. I just don't know if we,
Just recently, we haven't had one around.
like the license board per se has that authority to set,
Yeah, I don't know that we do.
hours. And legal, the Board of Health reached out to legal, and legal was like, oh, send them to the license board. And I'm like, why would they do
No,
I don't...
no.
so?
At the time when Fernandez had that, they didn't have liquor license at the time because
Right.
they didn't hold liquor license way back then at
Right,
that time.
that would have changed the whole
That would,
thing.
yeah, liquor license would have changed the whole thing because our thing
Of
is
course.
2 a.m. That evidence card before that.
So maybe I can reach out to the city council, and I don't know if that requires a special permit. I don't want to say yes, and then we are to blame.
I don't even know if their hours are regulated.
I don't think the hours are regulated at this point in time because there's no alcohol involved in that.
So why don't I just refer to our guidelines, which won't state any hours, and say, because our guideline doesn't state any hours, we don't designate them.
Yeah, we don't have the
Perfect.
authority to say yes
36.
or no.
I mean, we'll approve the common vic, but
Yes.
Sure.
without specifying hours within the license, because,
Right.
and if another agency wants us to review that, I guess we would have to decide if we're going to
Exactly.
take that on.
We need more clarification. I'm right there.
Annual has been granted, proof, title, workers' comp, department, in addition to all records required with license are responsible to maintain the following records. A poster approved by the Department of Public Health, a sign with the name of the license, services, any violation of the license. So that's all license. There's no mention of hours of operation. So I'm going to say we don't have the authority to assign or limit hours of operation based on our guidelines.
I'm in agreement. Yeah. And plus, we, by personal memory, know there's precedent for this. It's not like they're doing something unheard of.
And I might suggest, but this will be beyond after this vote here, I might suggest that we might probably check with our partners cities to see what they have, if they have anything and that in terms of restaurants that don't have like liquor license. What did they do?
Yep.
So I'm sure there's plenty of restaurants in the area that will do that. But in Holyoke, we don't have that many.
Great.
I think just 2 right now, Denny's and Kennedy's.
That's right. Dennis is 24 hours, don't forget.
So we already, we can't.
That's right there.
So it's allowed.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think it wasn't, but that's
Right.
sort of
No,
based
that's a
on
good call.
past allowances.
And existing properties.
Forgot about it. Yeah, right.
Nice.
There are 24 hours.
So anything to add before we?
No, he submitted everything.
Okay, I want to like to make a motion to approve this. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All 3 commissioners present have voted in favor of this new common vic for City Pizza. Now we're up to review of motor vehicle licenses, missing number of spaces.
So last month, it was brought up to review all the motor vehicle licenses and to just kind of sort out what licensees does not have a number on it. Out of the hundreds we have, there's only one licensee that doesn't have a number on it. So I don't know, in the folder, previously, they did have a number. Then throughout the years, it kind of just disappeared. I don't know if we want to put that number back on there. There's just one right now.
Okay.
And does it matter who it is, or?
I don't think it should matter who it is.
Okay.
It's
No.
just-
Right, just the fact that there's this anomaly, if you will.
yeah, I don't know what happened with the number.
I also just
that?
want to ask a question with Mr. Lemke, who was here tonight. I know the total number is 57. Is there an allocation of how it's split up? Because I thought that got mentioned at the last meeting that it wasn't, and that should also be there. I mean, there should be an allocation of each one, not just a total.
Usually when there's a repair shop and it also has cars for sale, we usually determine how many are in the shop and how many are in the outside. But that's what they have. To his establishment, he only has 1 bay, I think, to repair.
Right. And he also
Yeah, and I wasn't looking to say 1 for repair. Obviously, that would be that
it's
wouldn't work.
not,
But
I've
if
seen other businesses with that kind of verbiage in it.
But if we're doing that for other establishments, it would make sense that we would do it for everyone and not skip over a specific.
I remember, that's why we're too old in here. I remember back in the days when we were establishing the numbers, we were that's when the lines were being set up and the type of numbers in the cars, how many were for customers, how many were for the dealer itself, how many were inside, how many were outside, because some of the dealership can hold 4, 5, 10 cars inside and X amount outside. So I remember even the license at that time having those determination. 10 cars inside, 20 outside, 4 for the customers, 1 for handicap.
Yep, so Main Street.
Stuff like that.
The 170 Main Street where there's like 4.
Right.
Those licenses are exactly like that.
Just like that, exactly.
It's, 1 for customer, 1 handicap,
when we did
you're
that.
allowed this many cars for sales and this many cars for repairs.
Yeah.
This specific, licensee doesn't have anything. It just says basically how the lot is 30 by 55. So if we were to send somebody up there for enforcement, it's been a little bit of a trouble because they don't know what to enforce, how many cars, there's no
you're
cars.
right. Which license is this one?
Which one?
Which one is this one that?
The Reardon's Garage.
Is there a grandfathering factor?
And Reardon holds quite a few inside also. They do hold quite a few inside because of the toll business.
Yep.
And it's usually when they tow overnight, it goes inside for the most part.
But isn't the license, when we say number of licensed spaces, that means outside, when we have it on the license?
Yeah, it's for example, Lemke, since he was here, we can use him. He's not allowed to have no more than 56 cars on the lot. So I'm not looking for you guys to break it down. It was just years before there was a number, and then throughout the years, that number just kind of disappeared.
My question
there was a complaint, and the Board of Health reached out, and I couldn't give them anything because there's nothing on the license.
That was my question. My question is, if we go back on Reardon's record and check all the record of that particular business, somewhere down the line, do we find that? Because I remember when we set numbers out.
He
way
was
back
allowed
then,
30
and we did that to the whole city.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he was part of it because that business has been there for the longest.
Yeah, the number was 30.
I'm sure. Okay, so it was 30 at the time.
Yeah, because I look back and I'm like, what happened? I'm like, why did it's just 1 year, and then the language just kept getting copied and copied and copied. So
we have a number back there. 30. Didn't he brought that as an issue when we brought him in the last time?
No, his issue was he was doing sales out of only a repair, and he was like, he was doing repairs just with a class 2, and he was like, I don't require a repair license, and we kind of was like, yeah, it is a requirement if you're repairing cars. And I don't know if you guys have passed that lot, but that lot has cars on top of cars on top of cars. So if we're trying to put everybody in compliance, it's just like a fair thing, not point anybody out.
We might have to want to probably determine that one.
And I think the proper way to do that is we're going to change the condition of his license next year.
Right.
Is to bring that up earlier than just the routine changes and give them at least an opportunity to come in here and make the case for why we shouldn't do that. And then
why we shouldn't do what?
Change the condition of his current license. We can look at it. We can do it. I just think in fairness, we give a person an opportunity to come in here and say, well, here's why,
why you shouldn't limit me to the number of licenses.
Just shouldn't be done without, it shouldn't be done like as if it were something routine, because it's not routine.
So should we call him in for next month?
August a little early?
Renewals are in a couple months. I don't know if you want to have him come in a month prior to his renewal.
Yeah.
I just know it's not going to go as...
What if the discussion... What if the discussion takes longer, though?
That's why I want to bring it before.
Is it better...
So we'll bring him a month before. So renewals are due, I send them out. He can come in September.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if our renewal in October, there's still some unanswered questions or some additional information we've asked for, he's got the opportunity in October to also bring that in. That's 2 bites at the apple. And I think there we've been as fair and, provided as much process as
and not only that, we're trying to bring them in line with everything else we have.
That's right.
So
the new license wouldn't be in effect until January 1st, so it kind of...
given the time.
Gives ample warning.
Gives them time,
gives ample warning. I think that's the right way to do business.
We plan ahead on that. I like that.
So do we need to make a motion on anything on that?
I mean, if
I
it's
don't think
helpful,
we do. I don't
think so either.
So I'm just
Alex,
checking.
just to let her say, hey, you're going to be on the agenda, and here's why, right?
So you're gonna...
Yeah, or I can even send them hey, early renewal. We're going to start your renewal early, so come into the license. We're kind of a friendly, not so much like we're trying to go, attack or anything.
Right.
Okay. Guidelines for extension of premises to patio and outdoor area. So Alex introduced the application that she developed last month, and Michael, you requested time to be able to take a look at it.
I have to admit, Never got
Well,
near anything this month.
We
And,
really, then let's
there it
do,
is.
maybe we should do it right now.
You know, I have no problem with that. That's fair. I just got buried. And so that being the case, and you guys are both comfortable with what you got, and it's been through the ABCC that you got most of the form templates?
Most of the information, it was from a surrounding city that already has their guidelines, so I
Okay.
kind of snip at pieces, and then it's just a draft, so ultimately it's your decision on what you want to add or take out, you know, how you want to maneuver it. Some of the pages are from the ABCC, but
Okay.
just keep in mind this application will not go to the ABCC. This is just us.
Okay. I mean, none of this is crazy. It's, do we have any, how many people are operating patios right now that we know about?
Like Pix.
Pix is
the
approved.
I know Pix is approved. The
Yep.
one next to the
State
no
level,
is not.
The
Woodstone.
Woodstone. And if we approve this today, I want to actually just drop this off at a friendly way to Woodstone, just
Yeah.
to let them know. Not that they have to do it, but just say, hey, by the way, we just approved this, and I know from our meetings, you don't have this application in, so here it is.
Because, just for the record, just keep in mind, they're not doing anything illegal. They were just operating under the pandemic, the COVID-19 regulations, and that just expired, I want to say, a month ago.
Okay.
So, you know, they were under that guideline,
Yeah.
and now it's a new
It
guideline.
doesn't look like it would require them to do anything differently. I mean, maybe because the setup as I can picture it, they can't see what's going on inside very clearly. It's like a brick wall between that alley area and there. So they may need to have staff out there, but they probably do anyway.
I think they do. I mean, I can see it when I walk
You
by.
can see it. Me too.
I've dined out there last year. I haven't dined out there this year, but it's a really nice patio.
Yeah, and then and they're running a good operation.
Yeah.
Fiesta, I would imagine, is also.
Fiesta's,
The outside.
his patio is included in his liquor license.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
did that, I believe, in 2017, according
it's
to
all
his
fenced
record.
in.
Okay, so that's outside the scope of this then.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
there's only maybe, I want to say 2 or 3 people that would need it.
Okay, JP's?
JP's is all set.
Okay.
JP's actually got his approval, I want to say 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If we approve this, would it-
Francine's, sorry, Woodstone and Francine's from the top of my head right now.
Okay.
but if we approve this, would it make sense to send this out as part of the renewal packet to any licensee that doesn't already have an approved patio? Just
So they understand what the rules of the road.
that hey, by the way, does that make sense?
We
Did
could
you do
send
that?
it out the time of the renewal. What I do recommend is we don't want to we don't want to do renewals and then approve patios, because that application, like, the board does need to review it. We do need to know what we're approving as the alcohol renewals is the same licensees.
So the suggestion would be, if we approve that to be utilized, start sending them now to the ones that don't have it, so then we can start working on that. So when renewal time comes, they're already included into that.
And licensees were aware of this, because when I mailed out this year's renewal
You mentioned.
in October, the ABCC sent me something as of April 1st, 2024, all outdoor patio, you guys would have to apply. So that was included in the renewal from 2024, but it was sent in 2023.
And with that advance notice, did anybody express any concerns?
Only picks.
And they're all set?
And they literally just got approved, I want to say 2 weeks ago,
Okay.
state level.
So that solves it?
Yeah.
All right. In that case, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
So you're okay with the application?
I am.
As it is? And instead of, we're not going to send it out with the renewal, but you want to just notify the ones you know
Yeah, I'll
of?
definitely put
Yeah.
the memo again in the renewal, but it's up to them to have to come in and apply it. I just don't.
I also do have a question, but this business here on Dwight Street, down in where the mills are,
The blue door?
No,
Was
the
it-
warehouse.
In front, the people, no, right on Dwight Street.
Right on Dwight Street.
Is it Dwight Street?
Millwall?
Yeah, how far down?
I'm sorry, no. Yeah, Dwight Street. The right after the canal, those buildings there.
So Fame and the Blue Door?
Fame.
Yeah.
Fame has an outside patio. The Fame's also,
Fame needs to apply for it.
yes.
Okay, 'cause they get that
By the
little
way, they have a
side
beautiful,
strip.
nicely
Yeah.
done
Okay,
outside
then
patio,
give me
yes.
2, and I will
You have to.
drop them both off.
Yeah, that's the thing, if you really scour your memory, something's gonna
Yeah,
pop up.
also Baru.
Brian Baru?
Brian Baru from commercial.
I would have to look
They
at
have an
his,
outside patio too.
I would have to look at his
See,
license.
And now I'm looking for
Because
the places
according
that have
to him, the
patios.
patio was something that was, the outdoor space was always included. It wasn't in my time, so I would literally
Need a little
would have
research
to
on that.
check for
110 Grill
the Baru.
at the mall.
110 Grill, the mall has a little.
110,
too,
110.
Also.
110.
Can I take this back? Because I want to drop 2 off.
Since opening, by the way.
Yeah, from day
Since
one.
opening, yeah.
I'll drop off Fame tonight, and I'll
Yeah,
drop off.
and if you want to like mention
Oh,
to
they're gonna
them,
be closed.
it does, this is just local
Oh.
approval, it doesn't require
Yeah.
state, so it's not like they would have to wait 8 weeks like the normal process. It's, once they make an agenda, they get approved and they can start right away.
Great.
Yep.
And
That's it.
so we can move on from there.
Can we approve we gotta approve the.
Approve it.
Move to approve.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All 3 commissioners have approved this new guidelines for extension of premises to patio and outdoor area, and the new forms created by Alex for the local license board to accept the application and approve. And now we're on to late files, and we have Christina Gonzalez, 116 High Street.
That's for
And-
poetry night. Christina Gonzalez is the owner of Camila's Cafe. Business is not going too well, not to throw them out there, so they're trying to, do
some
things
stuff.
to kind of bring
That poetry
attention.
night, they kind of did one. It was on Facebook. That came out pretty nice.
Yeah, and she
So I
does-
think this is why they're
Yeah,
trying
she doesn't have too much like knowledge on the 1 days, and I'm like, girl, you're more than welcome to apply for
Yeah.
1 day as long as you have all the stuff.
So this isn't all alcohol.
I told her it will just be beer and wine because
Okay.
this
Okay,
is
she just
she emailed it to me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I just told her it would be for beer and wine.
Beer and wine.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything to add?
Move to approve adjusted beer and wine. Everything else is in order?
Everything else is in order.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All 3 commissioners present have voted in favor of this 1-day special alcohol license that's going to be beer and wine. Next, we're on to Batat Glass. This is an open air.
For Fiesta Patronales.
Make a motion we approve if everything is in order.
Second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All 3 commissioners have voted in favor. Next, we have Lifted Spirit Candle Open Air. Is it
That's for farmers market.
Farmers Market.
Make a motion we approve if everything is in order.
Second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All 3 commissioners present have voted in favor. Approval of meeting minutes, 273765.
So 6/5, I'm like literally at the end to complete them. But what I did send was January
That's
3rd,
right.
February 7th, and March 6th.
I didn't even catch that, so I
Yeah.
didn't catch the discrepancy there, because I did read.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
So what I would do is move to accept the ones we've received, January, February, and March, and we'll just await June till next month.
Yes. Yes.
And that will, at that point, we'll be
I was trying
caught
to
up in
have 4 sets.
2024, right? Okay, that is very good. The question I've got, so we do have a pretty significant backlog from prior to that we've discussed in the prior meetings. Did you have an opportunity, Anthony, to maybe discuss with the mayor or anyone else about maybe finding some resources to do some support so that this isn't left completely on Alex's plate?
Well, we had discussed it with Aaron, and I don't think they have the money, but we could try again.
Yeah, but budget. That's what they're gonna say, budget. I do have an intern that works out of OPED, helping me catch up on minutes. I'm just literally, I think I'm like from the list you sent to
Yeah.
Lisa. I think half of it is knocked out
Okay.
already. So it's just working on the other half and me being completely up to date.
Okay, good, because if we can just circle back on that, maybe offline, post-meeting. My concern is that this is an ongoing open meeting law violation, but I take very seriously, I'm completely sympathetic to the fact you are handling two boards that generate minutes, and they have a lot of demands on your time beside this kind of clerical work. It's got to get done. I don't think there's any fingers to be pointed about the backlog being created.
No, and I take responsibility, but they are being worked on, Mike. So like,
it's just as long as, I mean, the kind of progress you're talking about is totally acceptable. I would love it if someone would just find the resources, just get it done in a shot where you don't have to be the person worrying about it.
Yep.
I think that's a request that would have to be made only with the mayor, who's the only person who controls our budget. Yep. And, you know, you should recognize it's not the open meeting suggestion, but, you know, I still think this is good effort. It is appreciated. You know, it's just we bear some liability when this is sitting there, and I worry about that.
I know, and I understand. And again, I understand, and I took your email very seriously, and that's why I'm trying to work on it. Every meeting, I'm trying to have at least 2 to 3 sets. I would have had 4 if I would have completed June, but like they are being worked on.
This tangible, visible sign of progress is like, I can't ask for more from you. You're only given the same number of work days as all the rest of us.
Yeah, and I have been saying it for months since Jack left. I mean, I'm overwhelmed. It's a lot of work for one person. I can only do the best I can.
Right.
And, you know, I'm by myself. It's a lot of work, a lot of things that get thrown at me day to day. People walking into my office, the amount of phone calls. Like, even if I try to focus on minutes, the amount of people walking in.
We definitely appreciate all the leeway that you've been
doing.
So.
But again, like your concern is taken very seriously, and I am working on them.
So I'd rather, for myself, save my emails to the mayor about requests. So would you mind sending an email out to the mayor then?
No, happy to do it.
Okay.
And I'll talk to Aaron because, you know, this is...
I've already spoken to.
As my department head, you know, if I'm telling you, like, I'm overwhelmed, even with taking minutes off my plate, that would be a huge help. Like, I have Phantom now, and the Phantom has been great because it literally sums up everything, and I'm just adding it to the agenda. And
that's it. And then when you only have that 1 month in front of you, it's much more efficient to bang it out, and you should be in great shape going forward.
Right.
It's really about the backlog. We just got to get it. We got to get it out of our lives.
Yep. So right now, June is due. May was done.
Yep.
I think I sent April was approved last month. So it's just working on, I believe I have like 5 or 6 sets, but I can confirm with you tomorrow via email.
Good. I kind of need the list that compiles.
So I printed that list with all the dates, and I'm kind of just checking them off.
And the basis of that list, by the way, I go back to just see what was emailed to us to review.
Yep.
And what I didn't see went on the list.
Yep.
And so that was the process I used. I could be wrong. I could miss an email. So it's like part of it was just verification.
Yep.
Okay. Very good.
Yep. So we got to approve them?
So I moved to approve January, February, March. Should we vote?
Yes, you guys did. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then matters not reasonably anticipated by the chair. There's only one thing, an email came out today, which you should have a copy of. Right?
Yeah, it's in the bottom.
Which is from a resident of Daphne Board, just stating a situation for the One-Stop Liquor Store. And I just wanted to make you aware of it.
Yep.
Did you read it?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. And if you had any comments for me that I could, or if we need to do anything, or comments for me to take back to Daphne.
So I see this addressed to you and city councilors and the mayor and Alex. Where is the police department? You know,
she does mention it that she's called the police.
Right. It's like, it's been Officer... Zerhide, who's been on this. Could we forward this to him so that he's at least aware of this? Because a lot of this seems to be with people who are moving away from the premises when they're told to move away from the premises and are loitering in the immediate vicinity, which is not greatly welcomed by anybody. And they're looking for a resolution that kind of is beyond the reach of One Stop, it seems like. Although I am concerned about the guy continuing to go back in. That's, you know. I would say let's see what Officer Zerhide could respond about this,
Yeah.
especially if something else comes over the course of the month of July.
Yeah, and again, I just want to state our purview is the liquor license, not
Not-
the
Everything
criminal
else
activities
beyond that
going
point,
on.
yeah.
Which from this email I took it from, there was just a lot of activity, and unfortunately, that's not our purview.
I agree with you on that. After I read it, I was like,
You know, so the mayor is CC'd on this. I would advise her to continue to reach out to the mayor, continue to call the police, but unless there's the drinking inside or the drinking directly outside and one stop is not doing nothing, there's nothing we can really do.
Yeah, and this even reads like they're making an affirmative effort to follow the plan they told us they would follow. I mean,
Yeah.
One
And it
more-
says the employees try to, tell them to move.
Yeah.
That's all they can really do.
right. And I have sympathy for the neighbors. I think they completely view this as a magnet
Yeah.
for most of the quality of life issues that they're facing near their homes, which is an absolutely fair thing to be concerned about, but it is so hard to address. And we don't want to be unfair to the business owner either.
No, because they did everything we asked them to do
Yeah.
as far as security plan.
Yeah, they truly have.
So do we have, obviously, forward to Officers Zerhady, do you have any comments to follow up with Daphne from any of the other commissioners?
Just that we value her continued vigilance and invite more of it. This does not bother me to hear
Yeah.
from her.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, it didn't bother, no, I
Yeah.
just. I
It's
was
just
asking-
frustrating that we
can't
don't have
help.
better tools to
Yeah,
change
exactly.
it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, next meeting.
14?
So, August 7th, I am not here.
I'm on vacation too. That's my anniversary day, wedding
You
anniversary,
have a lot
42
of things
years.
coming up.
Yes, I do. I got a lot. I would say that I go 14, which is the following Wednesday.
If that's not, that's fine with me, as long as it's legally not too late for us.
So
No, because we're
we're late.
technically 4 weeks.
Okay.
So-
my challenge there is that my organization's board meeting takes place at 4 o'clock that day. They usually run more than an hour, so I would be late arriving.
So, I also have to check back on the calendar with the office because there's already scheduled meetings and I need to make sure I'm not interrupting another meeting at the same time.
Here,
Here or on the Zoom account. We have
Okay.
2 Zoom accounts
for the whole city?
for the whole fourth floor. And we have, we
Sorry,
manage a lot of
it wouldn't
boards up there.
surprise me.
So
Yeah.
just want to make sure we're not interrupting anybody else's time, especially if they're already on the calendar.
Okay. How about the 5th, that Monday? If Monday work this month?
Okay. The first Monday of each month, so we finish before 7 p.m. I'll be good as long as we finish before 7 p.m.
We should, because all the Fiesta Patronales were on this agenda.
Oh, wait a minute. August 5th. Sorry, that's my vacation. I'm gone. I'm out of town.
Oh, okay, your vacation, okay. Sorry.
My vacation starts on the 2nd all the way up into the 12th.
Okay. How about the 1st of August, the week prior?
Oh, that Thursday?
Yeah.
That could work.
Yeah, that could work for me.
If that was our only option, I could make that work.
We should recess like the city councilors do.
Well, is there like minimal business to take place in August?
As of right now, yes, but you just never know.
But we're required by law to meet once a month. We don't get a recess. I think by law, we can't have a recess. We have to meet
no, that
every.
was just a.
Oh, okay.
No, that was just a joke. That would be nice.
I would take it very seriously.
No, that would be nice.
So
but-
Thursday this time, Thursday, August 1st. 5:15, right?
Yep, if there's any issues, I'll
No.
definitely email you guys.
Should we put an alternate day in case there's an issue?
No, because I still don't have the calendar in front of me, so I wouldn't even be able to tell you.
If there's any issues, you correspond back to us.
Yeah, tomorrow in the morning, I'll confirm it or throw out other dates.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
And then hopefully after August, we're back on track.
Yes.
Yes.
So, want to make a motion? Anything else? Want to make a motion to close the license board meeting for, what's today? I know it's Monday, July 8th. I know, I had to look though. For Monday, July 8th at 6:55 PM. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Wow.
All right.
5 minutes before 7. That's good.